Alright, another deck list. This one, yes, it seems to be heroes. Could be Elite Beat Hero, but it isn't. I've decided to give Elite Beat Hero a bit of a rest and try out a Hero Gate build, which I have dubbed similarly the Elite Gate Hero. Don't ask me why this is the case, it just kind of is. So, screw it. But yeah, basically, if you know about Hero Gate, then you pretty much know what to expect in this deck list. For those of you who don't know about the Hero Gate, you basically just kind of do the whole Elite Beat Hero thing, like the Hero Beat thing, but you throw in Fusion Gates to add like a whole bunch of, to make additional fusion plays. So I might as well. So I'll just rip into the deck list. We'll start off with Stratos, because you need him in every hero deck, because he just is there. Heat's always nice because you can just pretty much pile up monsters, and you can turn this into a beat stick. It's 18 as soon as it hits the field because its effect does apply on himself. And if you're going to go with the Bubble Man, that's an instant 2k beat stick. That's pretty much Thunder King sorted, so, which is really nice. And then main 2 you can just overlay for stuff. Bubble Man, speaking of which, I got 2 of those because it's much more necessary in this because of the absolute zero plays. And it's always good to have that. 2 Voltics. This thing is amazing in conjunction with the Fusion Gate because you're just going to banish all your heroes, and you got Miracle Fusions as well if any of those heroes die through Torrential Tributes or anything like that. So you've got a whole bunch of ways of banishing your heroes. This thing is amazing to get them back. It is absolutely ridiculous. You know, you go with this. You get back your Stratos, and then you can either search, or you can just nuke their back row. There's just so many options with this. It just wasn't quite as effective in Hero Beat because you didn't have as many options to banish stuff. 3 Alias, just the general beat stick of the deck. That's pretty much the only purpose that it serves, which is always good because you can do many aggressive plays with Chalice and Lance with this thing. It's always nice. You know, just bump this thing into the Thunder Kings to get them out of the way. 2 Lilas borrowed from the Chaos Dragons deck, which is also taking a bit of a rest. This is really, really nice. It works very synergetically with the deck. It's level 4s. You know, you just have a spam load of those. It's a monster, so that by definition that makes it a fusion target in this deck. And it just has it's basically kind of like a piece of meat on a stick, because it's just going to bait, because you're going to bait Bottomlesses out with this, bait Torrentials. It's just going to do that sort of stuff, and if they don't do that, then you're going to be popping stuff. And milling targets for Miracle Fusion is always nice as well, so there's just so many positives to come out of that. Swift Scarecrow, they've kind of been a bit situational lately throughout the couple of games that I played. I'm probably going to take these out. I'm not sure what I'm going to throw in though. I might go something along the lines of maybe Max C, just so I can control their bloody spam of special summoning and everything like that. It's handy while it is there though, because it's a Gaia target, and of course it's just kind of there to stop you from being OTK'd because you've got the Fusion Gates there, and they're probably going to get in the way of stuff like Gauze. Snowman Eater, just to blow shit up and add another target for Absolute Zero. And a Thrasher, just to make the Rank 4 Exceed plays a little bit quicker with this thing. It's been kind of handy. I'm thinking about taking it out though for a Silver Sentinel, because I think Silver Sentinel just adds for more card destruction, and I really like back row hate in particular. So it's just kind of there. Spells, we have the Fusion Gate, of course, because it wouldn't be Gate Heroes without them. Fusion Gate is pretty much your bread and butter of this deck. You just fuse shit and you just make shit. This makes your Shinings very, very big, very, very quick. It's deadly. And of course, it basically doubles as an MST as well against stuff like Dark Worlds, Madolches, and that sort of stuff, because you just get rid of their field spell as well. Triple Super Polymerization, because you pretty much need this as well, because you're going to have a shitload of monsters. If they just do anything, you can just play this and they pretty much go, oh shit. And Escuridao being legal, pretty much makes this a staple in just about any hero deck because you have the ability to go into anything. I believe that the only monsters you can't go into, you cannot use with Super Poly are the Egyptian Gods, Harakti, that's blatantly obvious, and Chimeritic Fortress Dragon because that can't be used as fusion material. 3 Miracle Fusion, of course. It's not quite as like bombardically useful. I didn't even know what the hell I said, but yeah, basically it's not quite as incredibly crazy or live as it is in Hero Beat, because you're going to be banishing a whole bunch of the stuff from the banish pile, but it is always handy at 3 because you're going to have because you got enough stuff to put it in the grave to make this thing worthwhile, so you really want to see this, and it's a really good top deck. But it's also balanced in a way that you can side it out for other stuff if you need them. 2 Hero Lives. Very hefty the cost is. I think that's the real question mark card I have about this deck for me. Like, I have no problems running it. It's just the whole cutting the life points in half thing. So far, whenever I've played it, it hasn't actually hurt me in the slightest. But it's just kind of if I can get over that whole just part about it, then I can be a lot more comfortable with the deck. But yeah, 2 equals because you just need the stuff like that. 2 terraformings to get your fusion gates, of course. 2 lancers. I was actually considering using the last $5 I have to buy a single battle pack in the hopes that I could get a 3rd copy of this to put in this deck, because this thing is absolutely godly in the Hero Gate, because if they just try to run into something of yours, you just play this. You can protect a whole bunch of your stuff from this, from like torrential, bottomless, all that good stuff. You just have so many different plays with this thing. Having the 3rd one would be an absolute bonus and a half to this deck. It's just amazing the way in the way that works. And same thing with Chalice. Chalice really doesn't affect any of my monsters in much of a way. I mean, Stratos is just kind of when it hits the field. You know, you've got Alias, which becomes even more of a beat stick. Thrasher becomes an even bigger beat stick, plus can swing if there are other monsters on the field. You just have a whole bunch of options there. Plus, of course, you know, negate the shit out of shit. Like knock those Raikos over, knock those other snowmen off, and just be a general nuisance. 3 MSTs. I love back row hate. And then the Triforce, Storm Darkhold Reborn. Normally with this sort of deck, because it's basically turbo, you don't run traps. I'm taking in 1 trap, Return from the Different Dimension. If it doesn't really work out, then I will drop it for a Burial from a Different Dimension, because I think that just works a little bit better with the deck. And it's not actually that hard to decide out if it is being useless. So, yeah. Alright, extras. Start off with our 3 Shining. Shining finally back at 3 in a deck I run for. Hasn't been this case for a while, but considering the fact that this is the main beat stick you want to go into, it is pretty much a necessity. This thing gets real big real quick. It and Fusion Gate are pretty much soulmates, very much like Torghast and Sangan were. But I doubt that either of them will be getting banned at any point. So, 2 Absolute Zero. Always like it. I think 2 Absolute Zero is pretty much a minimum because you've got the Bobbleman plays, and I got the Snowman Eater as well, and of course I have those options for Mermails and shit. Nova Master would like to run a second one of these just for the Fire Fist, Fire King, whatever the hell matchup. Escurial because it is awesome and it works so boss like when I side in with other stuff. Great Tornado, because it's there, and Gaia, just, because it's there, because you've got to have the options for no matter what the hell you play against. Xyz, Excalibur, pretty much the main beat stick of the deck. Blade Armor, because he just is naturally awesome in the heroes. Utopia, Go 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 Cowboy, My Stroke, and Papilloperative. It's a pretty decent, yeah, it's a pretty decent Xyz lineup. If I had the room, I would almost certainly play an Abyss Dweller because I can get the, because it works very well in this. I think it would work very well in this deck against the Mermails. And basically, the way I built the deck was to try to beat stuff that appears at my locals. And I know one guy that runs a Mermail deck, and I know one guy that runs a Madolche deck, and I have known people that run Dark Worlds and shit like that. Anyways, side deck choices. Starting off with Gemini Imps, double of those. Because I don't really like discarding shit, and I am starting not to like Dark Worlds very much, so I'm basically just, you know what, fuck your Dark World dealings, fuck your card D, no, just screw that, and I might as well plus out as well, just to piss you off even more. 2DD Survivor. Just for all the macro stuff, you know, like Macro Rabbit. I think some guy last week played a straight macro deck with all like the DD Warrior ladies and shit like that, so this is always handy. Dark Target as well for is Screwed Out, and if it's on the field and I banish shit, then I just get it back during the end phase, so it's just like send a hero to, so it's basically I just send one monster to grave for a fusion, or banish one monster for a fusion rather, to Thunder King because it's just there, and it doesn't really hurt my deck quite that much because it's easy for me, because like, yeah, because obviously I just go with my stuff first and then play it, and it's just always handy to shut up stuff like Prophecies. Twister, just for the random sort of stuff. Parallel Fusion, I love this card to bits against stuff like Macro because it's basically just like, okay, go ahead, banish my monsters, I'll just put them all back into my deck, so just screw you. Macro just doesn't hurt this deck in any way. Macro Cosmos might be a little bit sort of but yeah, it really doesn't hurt that much. It's why I run 3D Fissure as well, because you know they're just gonna do some really stupid shit with it, and they're just gonna be really annoying. So we in terms of monsters, so you just play with these. You know, they're not going to hurt you that much since you're going to be banishing shit anyway through Fusion Gate. So, send them to grave and they don't get any of their little funky little shit going off. Eradicator, Epidemic, and double Royal Decree. Epidemic's there to kill off the Prophecy, which I actually played a test game against Prophecies and I pretty much smacked them fair in the chops, and I didn't even have to side, so... Because yeah, it's a single game, so obviously there was no siding, but yeah, I've got enough stuff there to kill off Prophecy for when they're going to go incredibly stupid, and I've got enough stuff there to pretty much cover a majority of other bases, i.e. Dark World, you know, Dark World, Mermail, just, ugh, general annoying shit. So yeah, that's the new, I don't really want to say main deck because, like, since I got it, because like as I stated in that video earlier that I put up earlier the other day or something like that, like with the 2 tins that I have and everything, it's just sort of like, okay, I'm going to build this sort of deck and then I'm going to maybe put a deck list of that and like show it off and be like, okay, this is how I would sort of build the thing, and it's just, yeah, it's just kind of there. So we'll end the video with my tokens. So yeah. See you for that one. See you for the... I don't know. Just screw it, I'll do another deck list.